Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com, and for this Reseller Friday, I want to talk to you about how a victim mentality is not going to help your sales. And before I get into that, I want to make sure that you go ahead and share this with other people that this could be a blessing for. I'm trying to reach more people who are in the reseller community, who are believers and who want to have success in their resale business. And they're tired of the nonsense and the excuse making and the blaming of the platforms for them not being in the best place they could possibly be in their reselling business. And so I'm going to talk to you about this victim mentality. I see so many resellers, and they'll even come to me, well, but you don't understand. The platform did this to me, or they made this hard, or the fees are too high. There are all kinds of excuses people come up with to try to justify why they're not in the best place they could possibly be in their reselling business, but they're all just excuses. Now listen, I'm not even discounting that those things might be true, but it's up to you as the business owner to work around those things, to make those things work in your favor, or at least to not work against you. But if you just go around whining about the platforms or switching platforms because, well, these fees are too high this place. Maybe the fees are too high on one platform because it brings in more traffic and gets more sales. And there's also people who say, well, I only sell on this one platform because their fees are less. But when you actually add up all the fees, it costs more than the other platforms. So they don't even know the basic math of what they're doing. And that's very important because you can go around blaming the platforms for their fees. And a lot of times that's from people who never had any real online business experience. I was one of the early people to use Google AdWords, which became Google Ads, when it was in its beta program. And I spent a lot of money. Tremendous amounts of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars on that platform in the first few months of using it. And here's one of the things I noted. It's very expensive, and it was cheap back then. Today, it's way more expensive to advertise and to get customers in advertising through Google or other platforms, Facebook ads or whatever it may be. As a percentage, it was very high. The advertising costs, in many cases, were more than the product costs of the things I was selling. That's how high it was. And people are going to these online platforms, eBay, Amazon, Mercari, Depop, Poshmark, Etsy, wherever, and they're whining about the platform fees, not realizing that if you went out there and built your own website and tried to generate traffic through advertising dollars to your website to get sales, it's going to cost you way more than the 15 or 20 or 25% the platform is charging you on their platform, that they're getting the sales to you, they're getting the customers to you, which generate the sales. It would cost you way more. So I look at it and think these platforms aren't that bad because they're getting the traffic to me. They're handling all the infrastructure part of it and the website and the customer service, really, for the most part, as far as if there's a problem with the payment or whatever, you don't have to deal with that. All you got to do is deliver the product that the customer ordered promptly and handle any little customer concerns that might come up. What size is this, or what color is this on this side, or whatever the customer may ask. It's pretty straightforward and pretty simple. Now, besides obviously the complaining and whining about the fees, which nobody wants to pay fees. Of course, we'd rather pay 1%. Of course. No one wants more fees. But the reality is the fees are what they are, and they're way cheaper than if you were trying to do it yourself and trying to generate traffic to your own website and get sales. Because one of the things is, too, you try to generate traffic to your own website, you're paying all this ad dollars. People might get to your site, so you might actually get the traffic to your site, but people still don't buy because they don't trust your site. They may trust Amazon where they don't trust you. They may trust eBay where they don't trust you. They may trust Poshmark, and on and on. They trust these platforms that they have protections in place and that if there's an issue, they will be covered. And they don't know you from anybody. So even if you can get traffic to your site, you can get customers that are looking, it doesn't even mean they're going to buy from you because you don't have that built-in trust equity that these other platforms have for their many years or even decades of being online. Then the other issue is that people get into where they're blaming the platform for their lack of success. Well, eBay's not sending me enough sales. Well, Poshmark is going down. Well, Etsy hasn't done the... And they blame the platforms for their lack of sales. Do you think if there's a customer on that platform and you have the item that they want for the lowest price that they're not going to buy it from you? They're going to just look at it and go, well, I'm going to go somewhere else. No, what's going on is you don't have the item the customer wants, or your price is too high, or maybe your shipping cost is too high. There's some reason that is stopping that person from buying from you, and it's not the platform's fault. Now, if you're watching my other videos, you know I talk about this kind of stuff a lot because you have to have the right mentality going into your business if you're going to be successful. If you go into your business or life in general as a victim, thinking of yourself as a victim, it could be anything. It could be your age. I've heard people say they're too old to do something. So that's their thing that they hold themselves back with. Or I've heard people say they're too young. There's all kinds of excuses. People use their gender, their race, their whatever. And these may all be things that could create issues for them. I'm not even disputing that. My point is just that if you go into life expecting to be a victim, walking around believing that everybody's victimizing you, the platform's victimizing you, your customers are victimizing you, you're just a poor, innocent victim, just going through life suffering and being miserable, what do you think you're going to get as a result? It's not going to be good. And yet you see many resellers have that mentality. Well, you know, eBay cheated me in this thing and did that and that. I've had some situations where I'll give an example. I saw somebody talking about, well, you know, I had this customer that was returning an item, and for whatever reason, the return got sent back to them, so I didn't get it, and eBay refunded it in their favor. And so eBay stole my money. Now listen, things happen. eBay is not, there's not some human being looking at that transaction and micromanaging it. It's just an algorithm. You didn't respond to the case and refund the customer, or go call eBay and tell them there's an issue with this, and it closed without seller resolution. That's on you. You didn't do your proper due diligence. You didn't contact eBay. You didn't do anything. You just acted like a victim. Now, I had the exact same thing happen to me. A customer opened a return for an item. It was a clothing item. It didn't fit. No big deal. They shipped it out. It got returned back to them. I have no idea why, but it did. The post office can sometimes make a mistake. That happens. No big deal. Well, of course, it's saying that I have 2 days to refund because it's been delivered. Of course, it wasn't delivered to me. It was delivered back to the customer for whatever reason. I called eBay, explained it to them. They looked up the tracking number, saw that it was delivered right back to the customer's address, and they handled it. They reimbursed me. The customer's handled. They reimbursed me in full. I didn't lose a penny. But you know why? Because I didn't go into it being a victim. I didn't go into it just doing nothing, just sitting back and letting it happen to me. And getting a case closed without seller resolution issue, which is one of the worst things you could possibly do on a platform, or any platform, is not resolve a case if there's a case. But this is what many people do in life. They expect to be victims. And then something happens that is just an issue, just a random issue. It's not necessarily somebody trying to hurt you or somebody's trying to defraud you or whatever. It just happens. And instead of fixing the issue, which could have been done very simply, it only took me a few minutes to do it. It was resolved quickly, no problem, no dings to my account, everything was fine. But instead, they go out and be a victim. They go out and they waste the time they wasted posting this long diatribe on social media about eBay and how they're ripping them off. They could have had it resolved and got their refund. Now, I don't know in their situation, because they didn't respond to the case. They let it go until the system closed it out for them not responding and refunded the customer. Maybe in that situation, eBay wouldn't reimburse you because you did the wrong things. But that was a situation that was an innocent situation. A mistake happened maybe the Postal Service made a mistake. You made it into your problem and your mistake and your failing by not resolving the issue. And the time they spent babbling on social media about it and whining and complaining and being a victim, they could have had the issue resolved in much less time and had it resolved in their favor, the customer's favor. Everybody won. You got your money back. No big deal. But they didn't do that. And that's where the victim mentality will get you. It'll get you thinking irrationally. It'll get you arguing and fighting and venting on social media instead of getting the issue handled properly and going about your business. Instead of posting that post and wasting all that time, you could have listed more items and got more sales. You could have sent more offers out and maybe converted those into more buyers. You have to cast off that victim mentality. I don't care what problems you have. I don't care how hard your life has been. I don't care how oppressive people or the system or whatever has been, the websites, the platforms have been to you. You can do well and you can be a great success, but you have to change your mentality. If you're expecting the worst and believing for the worst, you're going to get the worst. But if you expect the best and believe for the best, you'll get the best. But here's one of the reasons why. It's not just metaphysical, although it is that. It is also because you'll think better. Instead of being the one that's thinking, I'm going to go post and complain on social media, you'll think, I'm going to go call eBay and resolve this issue because this is obviously a mistake. It'll get resolved in my favor real quickly. No problem. But the victim mentality won't do that. The victim mentality will see the worst. The victim mentality will see that this is just their lot in life. They're a victim. Poor innocent them. They're just a poor innocent victim. So off to social media it is to waste time and to complain and to sow negativity out in the world and wonder why my life isn't going the way I want it to. You have to change your mentality. You can't be a victim. And listen, if you legitimately believe a site is not good for you, the fees are too high, it's oppressing you, or whatever nonsense you come up with, then go to another platform and sell on there. There are so many platforms available now across the board. There's dozens of them. You can sell on and make good money. You don't have to sell on eBay. You don't have to sell on Amazon. You don't have to sell on Poshmark. You don't have to sell on Etsy. You don't have to sell on Depop. You can sell wherever. So don't get bound into one platform if that's what you think is your problem. Go to another platform then. Maybe the platform you're selling on is perfectly fine, but it just doesn't have the customer base for the items you're selling. Go to a better platform then. See, the victim sits there on the platform they think is not good for them, and they just keep doing the same thing and keep whining. The victor says, you know what? This platform isn't working for me. I'm going to go to a different platform and sell on there and do well on there. They're proactive. They're not victimized. And my friend, you can be a great success. I've seen people with nothing start with nothing. Literally found free stuff at a thrift store, started selling it, and worked their way up in just a year's time into $50,000 or $60,000 or $70,000 worth of sales. It's possible, but you can't go through life expecting that the world's going to hurt you, that everything's against you, that you're just a poor innocent victim. You have to understand that you are victorious, that you can be victorious, and you will be victorious, and you are victorious if you'll have the right mentality. That is why I stress so many times in my videos about following Philippians 4:8, only thinking about things that are lovely and a good report. And I want to leave you with that. Go read Philippians 4:8 today. Meditate on it. And then really program yourself to do that, to follow it, to only go through your life looking for things that are lovely and of good report, thinking and meditating on those things. Don't think about how the platform's against you. Don't think about how you're a victim. Those things are only true if you accept them. Instead, think on things that are lovely and of good report. I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.